Hello, my name is Matt Hames, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Digital and Social Strategy at 3 Enrollment Marketing. When I do roadmaps for our current institutional partners, which is a digital strategy offering them a year-long look at how to manage their organic digital strategy, a lot of times people ask me, how often should I post? And what I like to say is instead of thinking about how often they should post, a better thing to think about is what should you measure, right? So what should you measure? So here's some advice. As you chase platforms or decrease from platforms, stop worrying about how much you should post and start thinking about what is the behavior that you can measure? What kinds of behaviors that you can measure? And we often have really good conversations about the things that we can measure. And I list out a bunch of different things that are effective at measuring. And you know what? If you say, I want to increase this thing by 5% in 2024 or in this enrollment cycle or in the next enrollment cycle. And then you go into your boss and say, hey, look, I increased this thing by 5%. Then really, you should be getting a raise. So if you can figure out the right things to measure, you can also figure out how to succeed, how you can actually succeed. So start thinking about the right things to measure, and you can start thinking about how to succeed. So let's talk about three things that you can measure. Before I get into that, this is one of my all-time favorite quotes. So in the 1950s, John Wanamaker of Wanamaker Department Stores said this about advertising. I know I'm wasting, I just don't know which half I'm wasting my money on. I like to take John Wanamaker's quote and redo it and talk about digital. I know, like, there's having done Twitter posts for major brands, having done Facebook pages for major brands, I am aware that there's this desire to just do things because you know it works and not doing it is worse than doing it. So this is not a presentation to say you should stop doing things. I think you should actually experiment all the time. We once did a Reddit AMA that made the front page of Reddit. Exploring and experimenting on platforms is good. It's how you figure out what half of the things that you're doing isn't wasted. So as we talk about that, let's talk about the three things that you can measure. The first, I did a report on I did a report on the click-through rate for schools when there was a brand search. So this is what Google calls it, a brand query. So when there's a brand query, in other words, somebody searches for Monsters University on Google, that's a brand query. The average click-through rate for all of the schools that we partner with was 18%. There it is, 18%. In other words, on average, when people did a search for a school by name, 8 out of 10 people did not click on the .edu, which is at the very top. So you can get your number, right? You can get your number. Oh, by the way, on my Google searches, you can do an AI search. Not going to talk about AI in this though, but I just wanted to point that out. So you can actually increase the click-through rate on the SERP for a brand query. That's a stat that you can actually look at and try to influence. There are a number of ways that you can influence that. Page titles, page descriptions, just changing the page title and page description as often as you possibly can, depending upon the time of the year. If you want people to apply, maybe thinking about talking about fit. If you want people to visit, maybe talking about visiting and touring. So thinking about the different descriptions and page titles that can help you in get that click. If your click-through rate is 18% and you increase that to 23%, that is showing true results. You can find your click-through rate in Universal Analytics for about another 6 months. So it's going to be there. You can get your 2022 click-through rate inside of Universal Analytics. You can get your new click-through rates moving forward in Google Analytics 4 by adding Search Console to Google Analytics 4. If you're not sure how to do that, just Google add Search Console to Google Analytics 4, and you'll get, and then send that to your IT department, or say to your IT department, could you research how to add Search Console to Google Analytics 4? Write this down. Can you add Search Console to Google Analytics 4? This is how you're going to get that data. This is how you're going to prove your success if this is one of the metrics that you choose. The second one is traffic to your .edu from social platforms, from digital platforms. So you know that your click-through rate on a brand query for your school is X%. You've decided that you want to increase that on the SERP. So you want to get more people who do a search for Monsters University to click monsters.edu. But also in the back of your head, you know that 8 out of 10 people on average do not click on the .edu. They click to these platforms. So they click to YouTube. They click to Meta's platforms. They click to X. They still click to X, Twitter, whatever. They click to LinkedIn. They click to maps.google.com and Apple Maps.google.com as well. And they, of course, click to Wikipedia. So you're aware that there are places that people go on your search engine results page that aren't your .edu. So your overarching goal could be to figure out the click-through rate from these platforms to your .edu. And that's not hard. You just look at Google Analytics. It takes a bit of math, but it's not that hard. I'm an English major and I can pull that off. So this isn't complicated stuff. But then your next thing is to say, I would like to increase that click-through rate on these platforms by 3% or 4% or 5%, whatever you want. And if you want, you can X out the X one if you're not using it anymore. You can say Instagram is not going to be part of this because you can't put a link inside of anything. So I can't be responsible for clicks. But if you're responsible for clicks inside of Facebook, you can start to add links inside of the first comment. You can definitely add links inside of YouTube. You can say inside of your YouTube video, visit monsters.edu to find out how your student will fit, how you'll fit in at Monsters, etc. You can be more active in your calls to action. You can work with tour guides, and you can say, do you follow us on Facebook? Do you like us on Facebook? Have you clicked from Facebook to our .edu to find out more? You can start to be more bold in your calls to action. When your goal is to increase the traffic from these platforms to the .edu, you can actually have a plan and start writing out a plan. And that plan is not post more. That plan is not post more on Facebook, or that plan doesn't ask how often should I post on Facebook. That plan asks, how often can I get somebody from Facebook to the .edu? That's a strategy, and that's a strategy that you could adopt pretty easily. The third one, it's a little bit off this beaten track because the first two are really big picture ones that take a lot of planning. This one is a low-hanging fruit thing that you can do pretty easily. So inside of Creator Studio on YouTube, you have this thing called how many people saw your video and then how many people clicked on it. So how many people were delivered the option to watch your video, and then how many people actually clicked on the video. That's your click-through rate on videos. You can impact that click-through rate on your videos by making better titles and better thumbnails. So a thumbnail is an invitation to click a video. A title is an invitation to click a video. So making those more explicit. If you were to say, overall, in the next year, I am going to increase the click-through rate on YouTube videos that we have created. We spent a lot of time creating these videos, right? So we've spent all this time making these awesome videos that tell stories about our school. I am going to increase the click-through rate on those videos by 5%. There you go, 5%. So then you're going to make thumbnails that invite people to watch. You're going to make titles that invite people to watch. And you will see, if you experiment with this, you will see an increase in click-through rates. Somebody the other day in a roadmap to an institution said, how often should we make videos? We're a really small shop. My answer is I would rethink that. How can I get more people to watch the videos we've already made? Videos can sit for 2-3 years. They don't need to be added. They don't need to be refreshed. Every single year, every video is brand new in the enrollment cycle. So your how a student fit in here video lasts at least 3 to 5 years. So instead of thinking, I need to refresh our student stories videos, instead think, I need to increase the click-through rate on our existing student stories videos. And I can measure that. I can measure that. So those are just 3 ideas. There are way more things when I do a roadmap to our current institutional partners. I talk about a lot more things. When I do a digital lab to our non-partners, I spend a lot of time talking about what you can measure. These were just 3 little things that not 3 little things, 3 things that you can measure to show your success. So when somebody says, I don't think you're posting enough, or we should post more, or we should do this, flip the script and say, here are things that we should actually start measuring, because we can actually show success when we start measuring these things. Anyway, what do you measure? Throw it down in the comments and tell me what things that you measure in digital media. I know that there are way more, and these are only 3, but I'm interested in to hear. And also, if you want more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on LinkedIn and see more content from 3 Enrollment Marketing about what you can measure. At 3E, all we care about is results. And in order to get results, we have to measure. So measurement is part of our DNA. Measurement is also part of the DNA of organic search and organic digital media. So thank you for joining me on this video. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, bye.